Violence swept across major French cities a third night in a row after police shot dead a 17-year-old who has only been named as Nahil M, a teenager of Algerian and Moroccan descent. Media reports citing French officials say hundreds of people were arrested. Rioters put up barricades in Nanterre, the working-class town outside Paris, where Nahil was shot dead on Tuesday. Their advance towards police lines under a hail of fireworks was stopped as police fired round after round of tear gas. In their anger, rioters set fire to cars and large swathes of fencing. Police, seen making their push into Nanterre, ran past graffiti left by the rioters, saying, "Nahil, we love you," and below that, obscenities leveled at the authorities. Police say the teenager fled a traffic check in an incident caught on smartphone camera and shared on social media. The officer who fired the fatal shot at close range is being investigated for voluntary homicide and remains detained. The teenager's death has fed complaints of systemic racism and police violence, which the force denies. 40,000 officers were said to have deployed across France on Thursday, nearly 4 times the number the day before. But there are few signs that government appeals to de-escalate the violence, including from French leader Emmanuel Macron, would quell the widespread anger. Local authorities in Clamart, 5 miles from central Paris, imposed a nighttime curfew until Monday. Police also reported incidents linked to fires and fireworks in Marseille, Lyon, Pau, Toulouse, and Lille. Clips shared to social media on Thursday also showed rioters in central Paris attempting to loot a Nike sportswear shop.
Email exchanges from inside the BBC, they talk about the risk of violating Indian laws. It's easier to rake up the freedom of speech debate, but does it give anyone a free pass to knowingly violate the law? America supports India because it needs India's support in return. And India is working with the US because it suits India's interests. This is how geopolitics works. Last night, he diffused a crisis with his defense minister. But today, Netanyahu was confronted with a new problem. His cabinet seems to have rebelled against him. The UK is looking at the Indian subcontinent to fill its coffers. That India seems to be negotiating from a position of power, like a partner and not a former colony. The US and Russia are dangerously close to an armed conflict. This year, 2023, New Delhi will be the capital of global diplomacy. For a country as diverse as ours, with 88% of the population illiterate, it was a very big deal to write a constitution, and that too, the world's largest. Meanwhile, if we may, here's a Republic Day gift from India for the BBC. A list of suggestions for the BBC for their upcoming documentaries. Number 1, the Kohinoor and the colonial loot. Number 2, an outdated monarchy and unhealthy obsession with the royals. Number 3, racism in 2023. We're waiting.